flight attendant.
Hi everyone, I am honored to be here with Erin Elizabeth. Finally I got a minute with her. She did an amazing talk today here at CalJam, and I'm really excited to have her and interview her. I am going to ask her some questions that she probably doesn't get asked all the time, and you might not even know this, but Erin Elizabeth has had a vaccine reaction when you were younger, right?
Yeah, 3 months old, yes.
3 months old. So I really want to explore that as well with her, because there's a lot that Erin Elizabeth has gone through that people don't know, because, you know, she reports on a lot of other things. So, all right, so tell us your story.
Thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be here with Brandy Vaughan. I love her, follow her work, so I just want to say that. And so when I was I was adopted in Chicago, and I was adopted like just over 2 months, and at 3 months, my parents did the scheduled vaccinations, but it was January, born in Chicago, freezing cold weather, and I had a severe cold. So that didn't help things as it was, and already it would have still had thimerosal in the vaccine, so it was a DPT shot that I took. And of course, my parents tried to tell me later it was MMR, but obviously you're not going to have the MMR at 3 months. So I developed immediately 104 fever, seizures, febrile seizures, and was vomiting and was sick and hospitalized. And they then, of course, said, "Oh, can't be the vaccine. She must have spinal meningitis." So they did a spinal tap on me, which at 3 months old has got to be traumatic already that you're going through a vaccine injury. And then I think the priest was called, but I was 7 days. The fever wouldn't break, vomiting, couldn't eat, just and very, very sick. And yeah, and now we know that it was the vaccine. And because of it, I believe that it's caused, I don't know if I would have had it before that, but AD, I think, attention deficit disorder and other some neurological challenges I've had throughout my life, as well as when I look at pictures, the only pictures I have just before I got vaccinated, like both my eyes were even, and now you can see this one's always lower. So the eyes are off, kind of like Dr. Andrew Molden talked about in his research.
I love him. He's
on
one
vaccines.
of my real heroes.
Another one who I still don't understand how he died exactly, and keep hearing multiple ways, but we won't go into that. But
so, he was probably the first. He should be the first on your list.
Yeah, really.
He was amazing. Andrew Molden, please look up his research if you haven't heard about it. He talks a lot about the eyes, and I swear when I go into stores, I look in the eyes of children and they're glazed over, or one is a little bit off, or they're kind of droopy, and those are signs of febrile seizures and brain damage.
And they know I had febrile seizures. And at the time when I asked my mom, and unfortunately they read the New York Times, which the New York Times is just nothing but that of course we're horrible people if we don't vaccinate our children, and we're going to harm the planet. And they kind of, I don't want to say anything bad about my parents, but anyway, I'm not sure they completely understand really what's going on. But see, that's where my ADD kicks in there, what I was saying. But I think that unfortunately, and I actually have to say I've never been on Facebook Live with anyone else, so this is very new. There goes the ADD again. Yay!
I'm a first.
But, I know what
You'll
I was going to say.
me.
Yeah, I know. With Brandy. But the other thing is that also in pictures for the next 6 months, I was always like this. Wait. And my mom says, I said, I could only smile. I'm like the half crooked, so I was going to do a story called The Girl with the Half Crooked Smile, and I have the picture of me. And it was kind of funny, like I look like a wise guy, right? But my mom said, yeah, well, you couldn't for several months. After that, whatever happened to you after your vaccines, but it wasn't connected, you could only smile on one side of your face. And I'm like, wow, really? You're telling me that's not connected? She goes, it doesn't matter because, you can smile now on both sides. Well, yeah, I think it left me a little bit neurologically damaged. And I'm one of the lucky ones. I realize that I'm extremely lucky because they continued vaccinations after that. And then actually after an accident that I was in, they even did would have been a Tdap, probably not DTaP. I mean, when I was injured, it was DPT. They had the thimerosal in it. You probably know more about it than I do. Then when I had I was in an accident in my 20s, they did the Tdap, I would imagine, because of tetanus. They were worried, worried I'm going to get tetanus. And then I became extremely ill after that. I've never been quite the same since then either, after I was 26. And they did that, in an emergency room setting that I didn't know what the hell was going on. So that's a little bit. But yeah, it's I think that it's good that now, because of Brandy and people like that, people are getting educated on what's really going on, and that parents are able to, because of the internet, that are finally able to come together and say, hey, your child was injured. Well, it's not just 1 in a million, and that we're learning.
Definitely not 1 in a million. It is like millions and millions and millions. It's just not recognized, right? So the toxins in vaccines are causing all of this health damage, but doctors are not, they don't want to take responsibility for it. So
Right.
it's actually millions and millions, and people just don't even realize it.
Oh yeah, and even me, if I hadn't, I don't think for the longest time, now they would, I think my mom's intuition, she really knew that it was because of the vaccinations, and I'm adopted, so she was just a new mother just adopting me, but I think in the back of her mind, she would always tell me when I was hospitalized and the time I almost died, that's what they call it, that she would kind of mention it was after your vaccinations, and after I got older and learned more about it, then I realized, wow, obviously it was a direct correlation there. So yeah, but I'm one of the fortunate ones, having met so many people, like I'm sure you have, who have children who have either died or are severe, on the spectrum or nonverbal. I'm fortunate to be able to that have not been more adversely affected. So
yeah. I mean, we're lucky, but after all that I learned working in pharma and then seeing that from the inside, researching vaccines, I was lucky enough to keep my son vaccine free. But it's those children whose parents weren't lucky enough to work inside this huge corrupt machine and they didn't know. And those children, I speak out for them too, and you do too, because I'm lucky. Yeah, my son is vaccine free, and I had, awesome. I learned, the hard way with Vioxx and all of that, working for Merck. Yeah. But it's those children, those parents who had no idea to question, and that's why I take on this fight,
Yeah.
And for those children, and oh my gosh, the ones that have died, I always feel like those are my angels that are protecting me, and it just inspires me to keep passionately speaking out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate what
Erin speaks out about vaccines as well a lot.
Yeah.
So, Erin, time for the tough question.
Okay.
Is there such thing as a safe vaccine?
I've been asked this before, and I personally don't see, as science stands as it does now, that there is. I think that Mother Nature had it all planned out. Whether you're religious, whether it's God, Mother Nature, had it planned out really well. Like for measles, my parents who are pro-vaccine had the measles, and had they had children and not adopted, then she would have passed on that immunity to me. So then I wouldn't have gotten the measles as a little infant like we see babies getting now, because they don't get the immunization, or you probably know the words better than I do. They don't get immunity from their mother from the breast milk because the mother has it. So I think really what's going to happen is that I know that I'm call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want, but I think there's going to be a huge epidemic. They should have a sci-fi movie made about it right now, because all these adults who haven't been vaccinated, we have a whole new generation. We've never seen this before, because for generations and generations, our parents had the measles or they had the mumps, and then they breastfed their like my grandparents, they breastfed their kids, and then those children had the immunity until they were old enough to get the disease as Mother Nature intended. And my parents, it was funny, I'm going to say this, I don't even care, because at least it's not my channel, my dad might not see it. When there was a little outbreak what do you call it, where the little children play, like a daycare for infants, there was a little outbreak of measles, of like 3 kids, babies, and they're all okay, thank goodness, in Chicago. But that's because their mothers didn't have pass on immunity through the breast milk. And my father said on TV, he was so frightened, I'm going to go get a measles, go get the MMR. And I said, what? And so I talked to his sister, who's a nurse, an RN, and she said, you had measles. He's like, oh, I thought that was a chicken pox. You had that too, but remember they dimmed the lights? Oh yeah, wasn't that chicken pox? No, they dimmed the lights in the room for the measles. He had it, he can't even remember it. So he was about to go get an MMR shot, and he already has measles. He has lifetime immunity. But unfortunately, and I don't know if you probably didn't have. I mean, you had the shot.
No, I had chicken pox.
Me too.
But one of the things that I've been doing a lot of research in, and I'm slowly incorporating into my talks, is the fact that we need these childhood illnesses to build up our immune system, and so we have lower risks of cancer and other issues. When we have measles, when we have chickenpox. See, I have a scar, so it's actually, we're doing an injustice to our children by not allowing them to build up their immune systems through these issues, and we're at the same time depressing their immune system with the toxins and introducing chronic illness. Half of all children now have chronic illness, which never was the case when I was younger.
And that's severe allergies.
So
they said hyperactivity, I was really good at some things in school, but maybe a learning disability, but definitely they wanted to put me on Adderall, which thank goodness my parents didn't do that. But another thing I was going to say, and both my parents are, knock wood, 75 and 79 years old and haven't had cancer. Gee, I wonder if that's because they had all those childhood illnesses and they built up their immune system, whereas I only, like you, had chickenpox, and otherwise I was 70. It was 1971 that happened, in the MMR shot. Unfortunately, had just started. So I was like probably one of the first to be hit with it. Would it have been better if it were separated? Yeah, but it would have been better probably if I had the measles like my parents and I were just fine and had lifetime immunity. Because what's going to happen as we go more generations and more generations, or just even years on, not even generations, and those vaccines obviously wear off. I mean, Merck, as you know, is being sued by their own virologist because they say mumps is ineffective and the MMR shot. And you know the story.
Yeah.
So
did you know there's 2 Merck whistleblowers that used to be Merck scientists that are suing Merck for falsifying mumps efficacy data with their vaccine in order to get it on the market, in order to sell the MMR and have a monopoly on it? Crazy. There's so much going on behind the scenes that the public is not being told. That's why we do what we do, right?
Right.
And get the information out there. And so follow Erin at HealthNutNews. She's amazing, and I really honor how brave you are to speak out and do all that you're doing.
So same to you, Brandy, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate all you do, and thanks.
Right.
I love all the hearts and happy faces. You got tons of them. Yeah,
isn't it great?
It's
And thank you for watching. And let's keep it up. Keep up the fight. Grow this army. Speak up. Be brave. Be bold. We're doing it for the kids. All right. Thanks guys.
Night.